I think all creatives feel a little bit lost sometimes. Whether it's that a project that you've been working on is ending and you don't know what is next, or maybe you thought you wanted something and it didn't turn out as you hoped and you don't know what you want next. Or maybe you simply haven't found your path yet. Maybe you haven't found your style of voice. Maybe you haven't figured out what you want in your creative life and you don't know how to do that. You're feeling a little bit lost. I think that is very, very common for us creatives, and as humans as well, of course. As common as it is to feel lost in your creative life, it can also be something that is quite hard to move through and find your path again. In fact, often when people come to me to do creative coaching, they come to me feeling quite lost. And so I get to talk to a lot of creatives who feel lost. And I thought we would talk about that today. What it is when we feel lost, what is happening, and how we can move through that and find our path again. So the first thing I see happening is that we're looking outside of ourselves for our path. So we're looking to everyone else, we're looking outward, we are looking for inspiration, we are looking for advice, we are looking for another path to follow, going in the footsteps of someone else. And we want this, we want to hold on to a path to follow because we are doubting our own path. We are not seeing that our own hopes and wishes and wants and dreams, they are what matters absolutely most. We are craving some security, something to hold on to, because we don't really believe that we can do it on our own. And I'm not saying that advice is bad. I'm not saying don't get help, figure everything out on your own. I'm just saying that if we're only looking to what everyone else is doing, everyone else's styles, everyone else's path, we aren't going to be finding our own, because it's not out there, it's in here. So the first shift we have to make to find our path again and stop feeling so lost is that we have to start listening to ourselves. So you have to ask yourself, what is it that I want? Regardless of what I should do, regardless of what the best practices is or what steps other people advise you to take, what is it that I really enjoy? What is my vision of this? What is it that I want? Because that is always going to shape your path, and that is going to determine what is best for you. I think we as a society are so trained to follow in other people's footsteps, and yes, we are encouraged to sort of explore our own interests, but when it really comes down to it, from school and from work environments, we are supposed to follow in a certain path. We are not supposed to deviate too far. We're not supposed to really look inward and connect with what we want, what we are shaped to do, and how our personality and our interest affect what we want to do and how we want to do things. So let's take, for example, a very concrete example. So if you were to Google how to start a YouTube channel, or if you were to Google how to make good YouTube videos, you're gonna get a massive wide range of different advice. And one person is gonna say one thing, another person is gonna say another thing, and none of them are gonna say what you are supposed to do, what is right for you, because they can't know that. My YouTube channel, for example, well, I'm going out in nature. That isn't something that people could say that, Elin, you're supposed to go out in nature and film. And I don't keep up with the sort of best practice schedule because that's not right for me. I'm not posting videos multiple times a week that some people say you should do to grow a channel. I'm posting at the schedule that makes sense for me, and that is what is right for me at this time in my journey. And so we don't find the right path outside of ourselves. We can find good advice, we can find tips, we can find things that help us. to sort of get our own vision the way we want it to be, but we don't find our path in other people's footsteps.
Water so still, and my pain has gone away. The air is much cleaner after it rains. Follow my love, the scent that's in spring air. Follow the moon into the sun. There's a call for new beginnings here, but the sorrow of yesterday.
The other thing that I see that is so very common when we feel lost is that we are overwhelmed. We are lost in all the different possibilities, all the different paths that we could take, all the ideas that inspire you and all the ideas that you have. So you might be something who is multi-passionate, you have many different interests. Maybe you make art, but you also like photography and you also like writing, and you would like to explore different things, and you would like to have your art shop, but maybe also sell something else. And you have all of these different ideas, all of these different things, different ways that you could go and different shapes that this creative life could take. And so you're overwhelmed and you feel lost and frozen because you don't know which steps to take next. And when we're in this space, we're sort of looking at all the possibilities at once. We're looking at everything that we could do, everything that we will have to do if you have a goal or vision for the future, and all the different steps that you're going to have to take. And we are looking for, okay, what is the best way to approach this? What's the order of things that I should do this in? And I would just like to say that find a beginning. In this overwhelmed space of many ideas, many possibilities, we just have to find where we are now and a beginning from that space. So yes, look at everything. Look at what are the things that really interest you. If you scale everything down, what is the one thing that is most important to you? Or what feels most fun right now? Look at all of that, but then also scale things down. Look at where you are now. What is just one thing that you could take, or two things that you could pursue in the coming months or year, for example. You don't have to do everything at once. In fact, you can't do everything at once. And so you just have to pick something to begin with. You just have to find a beginning. And then the beginning of your path can then spread out in many different directions up ahead, but you don't have to figure that out now. You just have to figure out how to take yourself from where you are right now and just one step ahead. And then you will figure things out as you go. I promise, everyone does. And yes, we'll feel lost along the way as well, but that's okay. The third thing I see is that we are waiting for clarity. So we are waiting to stop feeling lost and to know what steps we should take. We are waiting to see, okay, I have all of these things that are spinning in my head and I'm waiting for them to stop spinning so that I can take a step ahead. We're waiting for the fog to lift and to know. And we can't know. That's the thing. We just have to sometimes embrace being a little bit lost, because we don't stop being lost by standing still. Imagine that you're lost in a forest and there aren't any paths close to you that you could take, or if there are paths, you don't know which one will lead you the right way. You are lost, and you're not going to stop feeling lost as long as you're standing still and just thinking about it. You find your way forward, you find your way out of the forest or wherever you're going by starting to explore. So I want us to embrace being lost a little bit more often. I want us to accept that in this phase of your journey, you are a little bit lost. You are feeling a little bit lost. You don't know which direction is the one you truly want. You don't know which steps would be the ones that work out. But the only way that you can find that out is to start exploring and seeing how things play out. Because we can think all we want, we can get advice from others all we want, but at the end of the day, we just have to explore. And that is what creativity is about. Creativity is an exploration. Always an exploration. And that is what makes creativity fun as well. And if we go back to the first thing about finding your own path and finding what is true for you, you're not going to think yourself all the way to that conclusion. You have to be okay with feeling a little bit lost and feeling like you don't exactly know what you're doing or where you're going to go and what direction is the right one for you. You're going to figure it out as you are moving forward and getting more experiences and learning what you like, what you don't like, what works for you, what doesn't work for you. So be lost. It's okay to be lost. And it's something that can also be quite fun if you embrace it. When I decided to make a video about being lost, I sat down to write some notes and I thought about what is a story from my journey that I can tell about feeling lost. And I had some struggles to come up with a good example because it's been a long time since I felt completely lost. But in another way, I feel always a little bit lost. And I think that is the reality of living a creative life. So on one hand, I always have sort of my core direction, and that helps. If you have a core direction, some values or a vision that you have, that is always going to be helpful. So my vision is still very broad, of living a slow and creative life. That is this thing that is always going to be sort of an anchor point, or has always been up to this point, been an anchor point for me and something that has been able to guide me. Because everything, as long as that is my broad direction, everything else in the journey can twist and turn and I can change my mind many times, but that is sort of the broad ultimate thing that I want. And that makes me, while I'm lost in the journey towards that, I know that that is my direction. The other thing that makes me not feel so lost is, I think, simply because I've gotten used to being lost. So if I think back before I started my blog in 2016, I think that was the time when I felt most lost. So I started working, and working life wasn't the way I expected it to be, the way I hoped it to be, and everything I'd been working towards from like high school, university, all of that, that was sort of, I had arrived, but it wasn't what I thought it would be. And it wasn't what I had wanted it to be. And in that moment, I felt very lost. And what helped me get out of that lost feeling was realizing that what was missing in my life was creativity. So that was the thing that I grabbed hold of, because regardless of what that creativity looks like, regardless of what kind of creative life I would build, I knew that I wanted creativity to be a part of my life. That gave me a direction. That gave me something to start moving towards. And that is all you need, really. You need something to grab hold of, something that you can start working towards. And there are going to be so many times when you don't know what is next or which direction to take. I have felt lost so many times in so many small ways. So when I wanted to start my business, but I didn't know if I wanted to do one-to-one coaching, for example. And what helped me to get out of that was to stop thinking about it and actually try and see if I liked it. And I did. And that is what I built my business around. I have felt lost now that I finished one novel manuscript. I felt lost in what kind of book do I want to write next. That is something I felt lost in. I felt lost in the decision where to go after my 6-month leave. What is the direction to take after that? Do I keep going full time? Do I find some kind of other balance that will work out as well? That has been a decision that I've been feeling quite lost in. But I think that you can get comfortable and get used to being a little bit lost, because it's part of the journey. It's part of living a creative life. And embracing that uncertainty sometimes can be all you need to not have that lost feeling keep you frozen. So I think that that's what has happened for me in my creative life over the years, that I have simply gotten used that this is what it's like. This is part of the deal, and this is also part of what makes it fun. There are many different possibilities. There are going to be many different directions that you can take, and that is also part of the fun. So yeah, embrace being lost sometimes, and don't let it stop you from going in some direction. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Give it a little like if you did. I am still taking on creative coaching clients for autumn, so if you are feeling lost and would like some help to find your path again, your inner path, the one that you want, I am still taking on coaching clients. So check out my coaching packages, or send me a DM on Instagram, send me an email telling me how you feel lost, and let's see what we can do about it. So I hope you have a great rest of the day. I hope you enjoyed the video. Give it a little like if you did. And if you're new here, hello and welcome. You can subscribe down below, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!
Road ahead is quite unclear. Let me walk it despite fear. The road stretches over the hills, and I've got many debts to pay. Some were wrong,